Hello and welcome back to another Pixel Art Academy Learn Mode devlog. Happy 2025. I'm sorry there was no January development sprint and devlog. Probably if you've heard of the fires in Los Angeles that happened in January, well, I was actually part of one of those affected, so I was staying with my friends in Altadena, and yeah, we had to evacuate, and afterwards just the whole life was completely disrupted. I was helping my friends deal with stuff, you know, moving, and yeah, so unfortunately life happened and no sprint done in January, so we are starting now at the end of January. You're probably watching this somewhere in February. Last time we've done a content sprint, the Pinball magazine came up, and like we usually do, we're gonna switch back and forth to a quality of life update. Now let's plan a new development sprint that will go for the next 2 weeks and 1 week for testing. This development sprint is going to deal primarily with save games, but I will try to get some other cards in here as well. Over the past months I've been collecting a bunch of cards, things that people have asked for, and I have assigned the ones that make the most sense to work on. Most high priority stuff is enabling editing of save files. So many of you have asked for this, so this will definitely get added to the milestone, and pick some stuff from medium and even low as well. All right, here we go. All of the tasks, I've chosen all the high and medium priority tasks that are only up to 2 effort points, and then low, just 1 effort point. Doesn't matter if we get to any of this, but you know, if we do have a bunch of stuff that is sort of low-hanging fruit, so why not try and get some of this out of the way. Now let's hope nothing too crazy happens during this sprint, and yep, let's take a look how it goes. Okay, so I'm really happy. I really needed a sprint like this to get back into the hang of things. And yes, indeed, I've finished all the high and medium priority stuff and almost halfway through the low stuff, just taking at random tasks. So here in the menu, the new thing that you will see is the continue button. A lot of people, you've been asking if you've already played the game before, so you don't have to go into load game. It will just return you back where you were. But also in the load menu, new thing, a lot of you wanted to be able to rename files, so something like this, and you also can remove it, because yeah, there's been times when people have created save files that for some reason didn't work, or you just want to start again and get rid of the old ones. Now you can do that. We'll give you a confirmation, and if you wanted to just go in the previous game that you've already played, just click on continue and it'll take you straight there. One more thing, when you go to play the music, if you have audio disabled or you have your music volume set to 0, it'll now actually ask you, and if you say no, the play button will go back to off. But yeah, if you say yes, it'll just automatically switch that for you. So you can get to here. And then speaking of music, here under the audio settings, we have the music effect settings. First of all, if you didn't know, the music effects, we have this automatic and radio setting. The radio is just sort of makes it sound like it's coming from the art studio where you're working on stuff, and if you set it to off, it just sounds the way the music was created. But then when you set it to automatic, it'll change from just normal sounding when you're here in the pixel pad menus, and then as you go into your drawing, when you arrive to the table, it then just sits back in the background so you can focus on your drawing. But now through this audio settings here, music effect settings, you can control how much of this effect gets applied. So first of all, you have this volume decrease. You can take this away and then the music will play at the same level of volume it was. Like, this is especially useful for streamers who want to have the same amount of music coming in. And then if you don't like this sort of radio effect, you can also remove that the same frequencies are being played. Now the whole thing will still sound like it's being played in the art studio, it just doesn't have this bad radio feeling to it. I like to have them on just for the kind of feeling of immersion, and you can just kind of feel like you just want to focus on the drawing. The music retreats into the background, but now you can customize it to exactly how much you want this to be in effect. Some more technical stuff that happened was some games were being corrupted when the OS didn't give enough time for the game to perform the final autosave. So I just disabled it. The game's autosaves all the time anyway. I did one more try to fix full screen toggling. So if your full screen toggle worked weird on Windows, maybe now it starts working okay. One more thing. Some people who are a little bit too curious how this display pixel scale settings wrong. So right now on auto, the game just will use whatever magnification it can use to fit the working area of your pixel pad to the screen. But yeah, you were able to set it up to settings where this number would actually make it so big that you would not be able to go back, and so they kind of soft lock themselves into that scale. Now I made it so that you cannot go bigger than what would be the biggest based on your monitor. I fixed a bunch of other small bugs, and yeah, let's go back and keep going over all this small stuff. I'll see you at the end of the sprint. Alrighty, the sprint is over, the build is ready. Let me show you what you can get now in the new update. I finished a bunch of more of this small stuff. One of them is when you have your reference. Previously, you were able to move it so far away that it would actually hide behind stuff and you wouldn't be able to get to it. So now I just made it that if you try to put it too far out, it just stays there. So no more problems to be able to lose your references. One more place where you could potentially soft lock yourself was in the color picking tutorial. If you don't have all the 3 available colors, let's say that I paint over these ones, well, now you'll actually get a message that there's no way to complete the level, so you have to use the undo. And one more small thing I added is that when you complete a picture, if you've never noticed, you can actually press escape button instead of going onto the arrow, so it'll be just something to help you navigate the menus much faster, because I know there's a lot of clicking on the back button here. So yeah, it's much faster if you just press escape. And even one more thing about this escape business is in the menu here you can go under controls, and right click right now works as an eraser when you're drawing. But somebody asked, would it be possible for right click to actually be able to right click to go back? So instead of having to click back on things, you can just right click. So whenever you're here, you go somewhere, you can just right click, it'll always right click will take you back. And yes, I will create a proper controls screen where you'll be able to redefine any keys at some point in one of these quality of life updates, but it's a bigger undertaking. It will happen at some point during early access. And to close off, in the Pixeltosh, I have just these small little things. Finally, there's this about window that you have about the Finder. Of course, this is a play on the Apple computer because this is the Pixeltosh. It emulates the Macintosh. And then also in the Pinball Creation Kit, similarly, you will get about Pinball Creation Kit that tells you that this is a game that is mimicking the Pinball Construction set made by Bill Budge. And one more thing that I added that I thought would be pretty cool, in the view menu you can now click grid and it'll show you a 10 pixel grid, so it's much easier to really know if you really want to position things and make sure things are symmetrical or stuff like that. Now this makes it much easier for you to do so. So yeah, I hope you will enjoy all of these little small updates that I have added into this current build. I really needed something small to just get a bunch of progress after the holiday breaks and then evacuating from all the fires. That was a little bit stressful, so this has helped me get back on track. And now I also, speaking of pinball, the next sprint I want to just add sounds into it. I'll see if the physics engine that I'm using is gonna give me more problems that it has. A bunch of people have been reporting that the game has kept crashing after you've been playing for a while, so I think it has something to do with it because it's a C++ port of Bullet into JavaScript, and I might look into also getting something that's a little bit more native JavaScript or something that's a little bit more stable. We'll find out. But then after the sounds are done, after I make sure that things are a little bit more stable one way or another. I would also want to create the rest of the pinball magazine things that come after the gate. Once you get to the flippers, of course, I expect there to be another issue of pinball magazine, so that's also gonna be coming up in the future before we get to the next element of art, which is going to be shape. Thank you so much for everyone for being on this journey with me and submitting all of the bug reports and ideas that I implement in these quality of life updates. And yeah, soon enough we'll be on to new and more content. Thank you for your patience also, as life literally burns around me. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.